The air in Madison Square Garden crackled with anticipation on November 27, 2021, as the boxing world turned its eyes to a lightweight showdown that would etch itself into the annals of the sport. TEOFIMO Lopez, the brash, undefeated unified champion from Brooklyn, stood as the overwhelming favorite, his resume gleaming with a stunning victory over Vasily Lomachenko, a win that had cemented him as the king of the 135-pound division. At just 24, Lopez carried the WBA, WBO, and IBF titles, his confidence radiating through every press conference, every stare-down, every bold prediction. Across the ring stood GEORGE Kambosos Jr., the Australian challenger, a man who had clawed his way to this moment through sheer determination. Lesser known, unheralded by many, Kambosos was a 14-1 underdog, his record solid, but lacking the marquee names that Lopez boasted. Yet, in his eyes burned a quiet fire, a belief that this night would belong to him. The stage was set for a fight that would defy expectations, a night that would shock boxing to its core. As the opening bell rang, the sold-out crowd leaned forward, expecting Lopez to assert his dominance early. But Kambosos had other plans. The Australian, lean and weary, darted forward with purpose, his footwork sharp, his jab snapping like a whip. Lopez, perhaps expecting a cautious start, was caught off guard. Midway through the first round, Kambosos uncorked a blistering right hand that landed flush on Lopez's chin. The champion's knees buckled, and he crashed to the canvas in a moment that sent a jolt through the arena. The crowd erupted, a mix of gasps and roars, as the underdog stood tall, his gloves raised in defiance. Lopez, stunned but resilient, rose quickly. His pride stung more than his body. He fired back with a flurry of punches, trying to reclaim the momentum, but the bell rang before he could do serious damage. The tone was set. This was no ordinary fight. The second round saw Lopez regain his composure, his hands fast and heavy as he sought to reassert his authority. He stalked Kambosos, cutting off the ring, his jab probing for openings. The champion's power was evident, his punches carrying the weight of a man who had knocked out bigger names. A sharp left hook to Kambosos's body landed with a thud, drawing a wince from the challenger. But Kambosos, undeterred, used his speed to slip out of danger, circling away from Lopez's power shots. His counters were crisp, his right hand finding Lopez's face repeatedly, reddening the champion's cheek. The Australian's game plan was clear. Keep moving, stay sharp, and don't let Lopez settle into a rhythm. The crowd, still buzzing from the knockdown, began to sense that Kambosos was no pushover. Rounds 3 and 4 unfolded like a chess match, each fighter probing for weaknesses. Lopez, known for his explosive combinations, began to find his range, landing a vicious uppercut in the third that snapped Kambosos's head back. The Australian absorbed it, his face a mask of determination, and fired back with a double jab. That kept Lopez at bay. The fourth round saw Lopez dig into Kambosos's body again, his punches designed to slow the challenger's relentless movement. A particularly brutal body shot echoed through the arena, and for a moment, it seemed Kambosos might wilt. But the Australian gritted his teeth, clinching briefly to buy time, then spun out and landed a stinging counter right that drew a nod of respect from Lopez. The fight was becoming a war of attrition, each man refusing to yield an inch. By the fifth round, the intensity had reached a fever pitch. Lopez, sensing the fight slipping from his grasp, turned up the pressure. He cornered Kambosos against the ropes, unloading a barrage of hooks and uppercuts. The crowd roared, sensing a potential turning point. But Kambosos, with the heart of a lion, fought his way out, slipping punches and landing a sharp combination that forced Lopez to reset. The Australian's confidence was growing, his belief unshaken even as Lopez's power tested his resolve. In the sixth, Kambosos began to exploit Lopez's tendency to overcome it, catching him with counters as the champion lunged forward. A quick left hook from Kambosos opened a small cut under Lopez's eye, a visual reminder that the underdog was leaving his mark. The middle round saw the fight's momentum swing like a pendulum. Lopez, now fully aware of the threat, fought with a controlled fury. In the seventh, he landed a thunderous right hand that rocked Kambosos, forcing the Australian to cover up. Lopez smelled blood, stalking his prey with renewed vigor. But Kambosos, ever resilient, weathered the storm, using his footwork to escape danger and firing back with jabs that kept Lopez honest. The 8th round was a showcase of Lopez's power, as he landed a series of body shots that seemed to sap Kambosos's energy. Yet, just when it appeared the champion might take over, Kambosos rallied, landing a 3-punch combination that ended with a right hand to Lopez's temple, drawing a cheer from the crowd. As the fight entered the championship rounds, the tension in Madison Square Garden was palpable. Both fighters were battered, their faces marked by the brutality of the contest. Lopez's cut had worsened, blood trickling down his cheek, while Kambosos's left eye was swelling, a testament to Lopez's power. The 9th round saw both men dig deep, trading blows in the center of the ring. Lopez's hooks were heavy, each one carrying knockout intent, but Kambosos's counters were surgical, his right hand finding Lopez's chin with alarming frequency. The 10th round brought another twist, as Kambosos landed a vicious left hook that deepened the cut over Lopez's eye, the blood now flowing freely. The referee took a close look but allowed the fight to continue, and Lopez responded with a flurry of punches, refusing to let the injury slow him down. The 11th round was a pivotal moment, one that would be replayed in highlight reels for years to come. Kambosos, sensing Lopez's frustration, unleashed a ferocious assault. He trapped Lopez against the ropes, his fists a blur as he landed a series of hooks and uppercuts. Lopez, rocked and reeling, covered up, his legs unsteady. The crowd was on its feet, screaming as Kambosos poured on the pressure, his punches fueled by a belief that this was his moment. Lopez, to his credit, survived the onslaught, firing back with a desperate combination that bought him breathing room. But the round belonged to Kambosos, who walked back to his corner with the swagger of a man who knew he was on the verge of history. The 12th and final round was a microcosm of the entire fight. Two warriors leaving everything in the ring. Lopez, knowing he needed a knockout to retain his titles, came out swinging, his punches wild but dangerous. Kambosos, ever composed, used his footwork to avoid the worst of the barrage, countering with precision. A massive right hand from Lopez landed flush, rocking Kambosos, but the Australian fired back with a combination that staggered the champion. The final minute was pure chaos, both men trading blows in the center of the ring, neither willing to take a backward step. The bell rang, and the fighters embraced, their mutual respect evident in the exhaustion etched on their faces. The crowd stood, roaring in appreciation for a fight that had exceeded all expectations. As the fighters returned to their corners, the arena buzzed with anticipation. The scorecards were anyone's guess, the fight too close for certainty. Lopez, bloodied and bruised, stood with his team, his expression a mix of defiance and doubt. Kambosos, his face swollen but his eyes bright, raised a glove to the crowd. Soaking in the moment, the ring announcer stepped forward, the scorecards in hand. The first judge scored it 115 to 111 for Kambosos, drawing a cheer from the Australian's corner. The second score was 113 to 114 for Lopez, eliciting a murmur from the crowd. The third and final score was 115 to 112, and as the announcer declared George Kambosos Jr. the winner and new unified lightweight champion, the arena exploded. Kambosos leaped onto the ropes, his arms raised in triumph, the belts draped over his shoulders. His journey from Sydney to this moment, from underdog to champion, was complete. Lopez, gracious in defeat, shook his opponent's hand, his head bowed but his spirit unbroken. In the post-fight interview, Kambosos was electric, his voice hoarse. As he shouted, "I shocked the world. I told you I was coming." Lopez, reflective, vowed to return stronger, acknowledging Kambosos's heart and skill. The boxing world, still reeling, buzzed with debate and admiration. This was no fluke. This was a masterclass from a man who had been underestimated at every turn. The aftermath of the fight rippled through the sport. Kambosos, now the king of the lightweight division, became an overnight sensation. His name synonymous with courage and belief, Lopez, dethroned in his prime, faced questions about his future, but his performance showed the heart of a champion. The fight itself was hailed as an instant classic, a reminder of why boxing captivates the world. It was a night of heart, skill, and sheer will. A night when an underdog dared to dream and made history. November 27, 2021, would forever be remembered as the night that shocked boxing, when George Kambosos Jr. dethroned TEOFIMO Lopez in a battle for the ages. The legacy of that night endures, a testament to the unpredictable beauty of the sport. For Kambosos, it was the culmination of years of sacrifice, a moment that validated his unwavering belief. For Lopez, it was a humbling lesson, a chance to rebuild and reclaim his place among the elite. For fans, it was a gift, a fight that reminded them why they love boxing, the drama, chance to rebuild and reclaim his place among the elite. For fans, it was a gift, a fight that reminded them why they love boxing, the drama, the courage, the moments that defy all odds. As the lights dimmed in Madison Square Garden, the echoes of that night lingered, a story of two warriors who